All right, welcome back in. Today is going to be some IFR written test regulations questions. Everyone's favorite, I know, but got to get through them. They're on the test. So let's jump right in. First one says, when must an operational check on the aircraft VOR receiver be accomplished when using or when used to operate under IFR? So if you're going to fly IFR and you're going to use VORs at some point, you need to make sure you got an operational check on the aircraft. The answer for this one is it needs to be done within the past 30 days. Okay. It has nothing to do with flight time. So if you see flight time, you know it's wrong. So you just go for that one. The answer for this one is under 91-171. If you want to go look at the regulation itself. Okay. So previous 30 days. All right. When making the VOR operational check, that's this one up here, what record shall be made in the appropriate logbook? Okay. So this one's tricky. This one is just like one of those things like you got to know on the test. You have to have read. It's again 91-171. But if you didn't read it, then you kind of just would never know this. But the answer is A, the date, the place, the bearing error, and the signature. So you got to put your signature, the error between. So like you're going to do, VOR from your VOR 1 and 2 or something. You're going to look at the error, see what it is, what it should be, what it is, and then you're going to do which VOR it is, like where you're at, and then the date you did it. This is really important, right? Because the date is going to set the preceding 30 days. So, but anyways, you got to do that. Number of flight hours since last check is not. That should be something that you see and go, okay, that's crazy. And then satisfactory or unsatisfactory. The bearing error tells you whether it is satisfactory, so you don't write that in. So that's kind of your two gimmies that are bad. Okay. All right, moving right along, we got alternate minimums questions. What are the alternate minimums that must be forecast at the ETA for an airport that has a precision approach procedure? Okay. So if you know this, the rote memory thing here is precision is that you want to remember is 602. If it was not precision, we're going to talk about that one here, but precision 602. Okay, so um, this is just another one of those straight up memory ones. You got to know if you see precision, it's going to be there. Now, if you see non-precision, so that's the next one. Same exact question. What are the alternate minimums that must be forecast at the ETA for an airport that has a non-precision approach procedure? So if it has non-precision, then it's 802. Okay. 90. If you want the information from this, where the regulation actually comes from, 91-169. It's going to have the information. Okay. So precision 602, non-precision 802. This means that if you're going to use an airport as your alternate, the time when you would get to that alternate, if you'd fly to your actual airport you're trying to get to, you'd go missed approach for some reason. Now you're going to turn, fly to your alternate. When you would get there, that's your ETA. Okay, so that's the ETA that it's talking about right here. That's when you would actually get to the alternate. And then what would be the weather at that time? So if you look at the TAF, that would be one way. If it doesn't have a TAF, I would maybe consider a different alternate. But you could also just use the GFA. But either way, look at it, and if it has a precision approach, like an ILS or something, then and the TAF says it's going to be, 600 feet and 3.5 miles visibility, you're like, all right, great, I can go ahead and use that as my alternate. If it says the TAF says, broken at 700 feet, and you have only a non-precision approach there, like a localizer, then you can't use that airport as a alternate. You'd have to use something else. But if it had an ILS, then hey, you're good to go, right? So yeah, that's how that works on the test. Okay, so you just got to rote memory these. Okay, precision 600, non precision 800. All right, next up here we got a couple more questions, and we're going to start with when a pilot elects to proceed to the selected alternate airport, which minimums apply for the landing at the alternate. So like the previous question, we talked about what weather you have to have in order to file an airport as your alternate, weather at the alternate when you get there. This question is similar and different. Okay, so it's a little confusing. So the difference here is this is asking you what minimums apply for landing, right? What minimums apply for landing? So the minimums that apply for landing are always just going to be the ones that are on the approach plate, okay, that you're going to use. So if you're trying to land on, runway 24, you go to the ILS runway 24 and you look at the minimums, go to the ones that apply to you based on your category. That's your landing minimums, okay? This would be like the right answer, like whatever for A here would be the right answer if you were talking about the last question, except for it says 601. So it's not right. We know it's 602, right? But if it's, if we were talking about, as it said 602, about, using that airport as an alternate, okay, in the forecasted weather, but that's not what this question is. And then I don't even know. That's garbage. Ceiling 200 feet above the post. This happens a lot in the test. You're going to have like 2 competing answers and 1 garbage. A lot of time it helps to just get rid of the trash right away. Like, this is nonsense. And then just like try to figure out between these two and then you just took your odds of getting it right to like 50%, even if you don't know it at all, from 33, right? So that's pretty good. That's just a little test taking tip for you. So minimums apply for the landing. It's always just going to be the landing minimums, right, for the approach to be used. All right, next up, where's DME required while flying under IFR? So this gets lost in the sauce a little bit sometimes because a lot of times nowadays we have GPS on our planes, and GPS is going to give us, kind of distances. We don't need DME, so this is kind of something that's you got to just kind of know. But 91205 has the answer for this one. It's going to say anytime you need VOR navigation, so you have, if your VOR navigation equipment is required, then the rule is at or above 24,000 feet MSL. Okay. These other answers. So this is, remember how we talked about before the trash one? There's no such thing as positive control airspace. I don't even know what that is. It's funny, but get rid of it. It's garbage. And then we have like when class alpha starts. So if you're in class alpha, but you're still at like 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way up to 24, but not including, then you don't actually need the DME, even if you're using the VOR stuff. But now, you might need DME for like the approach you're going to use or something, or maybe you just want to know how far things are. Great, but it's not required. Okay, 91205 requires DME when you're using VOR navigation and you're above 24,000 feet MSL. Awesome. All right, lastly here, we're going to talk about IFR minimum experience requirement stuff. So in order to stay current, right? In order to stay current, to meet the minimum instrument experience requirements within the last 6 months, you need to have done what? So your options are 6 instrument approaches, holding procedures, and intercepting and tracking courses in the appropriate category of aircraft. So that one's starting out to seem pretty good. If you hear this, it's called 6 hits, right? So hits, HIT, 6 hits. That's how you can remember that. That's your instrument requirements, okay? 6 hours in the same category of aircraft. No, instrument experience doesn't have anything to do with hours. It has everything to do with doing approaches, right? Because that's the part that's important. So you see hours on this question, you're like, I don't really think it's hours. The guy on YouTube told me it's not hour related, it's instrument approaches. And then this next one's also hours, right? So remember how earlier I said sometimes there's a garbage one? Well, this one just has like 2 garbage ones. So the nice part is you don't even really got to pay attention to this. You're just going to like be good to go on the test, okay? Although I'll say you should know this. Like, this is something that as an instrument pilot, you should definitely commit to memory. Your 6 hits, okay? You're really going to want to know this and understand it, especially when we get to the next question, okay? So the next one's after your IFR recent experience lapses, how much time do you have before you must pass an IPC to act as PIC under IFR? So an IPC is an instrument proficiency check, okay? So an instrument proficiency check, that means your IFR currency lapsed, okay? That's the key here. So we talked about it before. You have to do what? We just did it. In the last 6 months, you have to do your 6 hits. Instrument approaches, holding procedures, tracking, intercepting courses, okay? You have 6 months to do that. Let's say it's January and you got, it's the last time you flew January, okay? So your 6 months have gone by. You're 6 months into the year, okay? What is that, July? So you're 6 months into the year, June, whatever. And you look back 6 months, you say, I haven't done any instrument flying at all. Okay, I haven't done any instrument flying. My recent experience has lapsed. Okay, how much time do you have before you must pass an IPC? Well, the answer to that question is tricky because at first you're going to say IPC. I remember reading this. It's 12 months, right? But the problem is 6 months have already lapsed in this question. Okay, so that's not right. That's going to be tricky. You're actually only going to have 6 months left because if you used your 6 months from up here, right? You used your 6 months up here, and then now you're using 6 months. That's how you're going to get. That's how these two add up to the 12-month IPC rule. Okay, so you actually have 12 months before you need an IPC, but for the first 6 months you're still current, right? But then 6 months go by, you're no longer current. Your IFR experience has lapsed. How much time do you have left of that 12 months? Well, you have 6 months left. Okay, the garbage one on this one would be B, 90 days. That's VFR stuff, right? So, but then you're kind of stuck between these two. And this is when you want to actually look at this one for a second, because if you rush through it, you go 12 months, bang, C next, you're going to get it wrong. All right. So be really careful on this one. You have 6 months of currency. You have 6 months of, you're not current, right? but you don't need an IPC yet. You just need to find a safety pilot or somebody, an instructor, whatever. Go up and log those approaches, get those 6 hits done, and you're good. That can be 11 and a half months in, or it can be 6.5 months in. Doesn't matter. Anywhere in that second 6-month period, you need to do your 6 hits, not an IPC. If 12 months go by, now you're back in January again. Now you're calling people, hey, I need an IPC. All right. So hopefully these helped you guys, and I wish you the best of luck on your test. Have a good one.